Hello, all, and welcome back to a new episode of Movies and Us, a weekly gathering place filled with conversations about movies, stories, and connection. My name is Jennifer Hahn.
And I'm Sarah Callan.
And today we are going to be reviewing the 2003 film Cold Mountain. This is part of our collab prep and homework that we've been doing for our collaboration episode with the Revisionist Almanac. We'll be guesting over there soon for the 2003 year. And to cover Cold Mountain, we are joined by a very special guest. This is his first time on the pod. We're so excited that Scott is here. Scott, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Scott Cole. I live in Nashville. I grew up in Nashville. I'm a native to the town. I'm just a big movie nerd. As you can see, I've got my collection here. It's a modest collection, but yeah, Revisionist Almanac. Andrew put us in touch because I did his show, and we did the movie year 1991, and we had fun. So he said I should get with you guys to do a movie. So this is awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to talk about this movie, and we all three, I believe, have not seen this film before this most recent rewatch. So this is fresh. We're coming in with our first time watch takes with this one, which will be fun. There you go. Oh,
I knocked my computer.
Yeah. Nice. Love it. So I think this will be an interesting conversation. I'm sure everyone has lots of thoughts about this movie. So, Sarah, do you want to kick us off with an IMDb summary for Cold Mountain?
Sure. In the waning days of the American Civil War, a wounded soldier embarks on a perilous journey back home to Cold Mountain, North Carolina, to reunite with his sweetheart.
All right. This is great Oscar fodder, honestly, that premise.
Yeah.
You know, like everything about that is stuff that voting body loves to eat up. So
sweetheart who he barely knows. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Either way.
No, really though. We're gonna have a whole topic about that. Yes. Which they both acknowledge, so that's good. You know, we love some self-awareness from these folks.
Sure.
I am one sentence summaries for Cold Mountain in Movies and Us tradition. Scott, as our guest, what is yours?
Okay, and you guys said run-ons were encouraged, so
yes.
Okay. Here we go. If you ignore the blood puddles, sword impalings, infant mistreatment, rooster beheading, finger crushing, and sawing of a bull carcass, if you ignore that, it's really just a sweet film.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I think that's one of my favorites in a while. That was a whole journey. Journey.
Took you through the war.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Just young love, you know? Faced up against a lot of ugly, gory stuff. Sarah, what is your one sentence summary for Cold Mountain?
My summary is the Odyssey, but make it Southern.
Nice.
Nice. My one sentence summary is don't pick up and hold trays that way if you don't want a future Confederate soldier.
Yep, there's some lessons to be learned in this film for sure.
There's some really interesting flirting methodology that I'm so confused by. So, all right. Well, let's dive in and share kind of our high-level thoughts about Cold Mountain. We won't spoil this movie yet. It came out in 2003, as we mentioned. So it's been nearly 2 decades. We're going to give a short, brief section here where we're just going to share whether this film worked for us or not on this first watch. So Scott, did you know anything about the film going into it and have expectations? And then post viewing, what have been your thoughts since?
It's kind of crazy that I never saw it because I love the other. If Anthony Minghella has a big 3, I love the other 2, English Patient and Talented Mr. Ripley. I love those movies. So I don't know how I missed this one, but I just never saw it. And yeah, it somehow slipped through the cracks. And I it's on TV sometimes and I meant to watch it, but I never did. But I like it. I don't like it as much as those other 2 of Minghella's, but I do think it's good. I've heard that the book is great. I've never read the book. I like it for I like that it's a Civil War story that's about the women, and it
Mm,
gives agency to the women and kind of like looks at what the war was like for them. Like if we see like mothers and wives. Nicole
yeah.
Kidman is kind of neither, but she's still struggling in the war.
Yeah.
So I like that part about it, that it's taking that look, because war movies don't usually do that. Yeah, and yeah, I did. I think my impression of it over the years, I thought, because of the cover and the stuff I'd seen, was that it was just like a weepy romantic thing. This thing is crazy. It's one trauma after the other, just really gross at times, really upsetting. Like I was taken aback by it. I mean, once you get it used to, you're like, okay, this is a war movie. I shouldn't have expected none of this, but it's kind of wild how intense this movie is a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think there's a descriptor in Prime where we rented to stream and watch this film that's just it's gritty, and I'm like, that is underselling what this movie is. It
Gritty,
is
yeah, gritty.
far more than gritty. There's a lot more that's happening in this, but I guess that's an adjective to describe this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Sarah,
also,
thoughts
oh
about
yeah, sorry.
Cold Mountain? Sarah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna preface everything I'm gonna say in this episode with this is not a Sarah movie. Like, just nothing about this screams me. I don't like war movies. I don't like period dramas. I don't like the romance stuff. Like, this is not a me movie. And I did not have a good time watching this. It is, like you said, Scott, just one trauma after another. And it just felt like a slog. And I was like, oh my God,
Mm.
get me out of the Civil War. Like, I don't want to do this. I was not made to be in this time period. Like, just get me out. So I do think from like a filmmaking perspective, it was successful because I felt immersed in this world and I couldn't wait to get out. I
Mm.
think there's also some really, really good performances in this, particularly Renee Zellweger, who is fantastic and just like a bright spot in this very dreary movie. So yeah, oh man, this was just such a hard one for me to get through, but there's a lot of it does feel like Oscar, like perfect for the Oscar season, perfect for the Academy. No wonder it got like so many nominations. So I get it. I see the skill that it took to make this. I can
Mm.
appreciate this on like an intellectual level. I just hated every second of watching it.
This is not going to be a fun Tuesday night wind down movie for you, Sarah. Just a little, post dinner
Mm-mm.
moment. No.
Nope,
Okay.
that's a
All right.
no for me. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That's a no.
It's funny because all three of the strands of this movie is weaving together in the type of movie that is a romance film, a period piece, and a war film. All three things not you. You
Not your.
cannot be not your cup of tea. Uh, yeah, I similarly had a painful experience watching this movie. And I actually think that there's a version of this movie that could be really captivating and effective. I think my biggest problem with this movie is that it does a lot of the big melodrama, painful, difficult, traumatic moments, but there is no counterbalance for us as the viewers to buy in and care and feel like we can go on this emotional journey with those characters that are experiencing a lot. And so there's a lot of, I think, missed opportunities in some of the like character dynamics, especially with the female characters, like you're saying, Scott, that I think could have been teased out a little bit more. So I feel like this film is interested in showcasing this world, but maybe it's not as interested in like digging deep into who these characters really are. And I think that works against this film. So I have a bunch of proposed revisions of how I think this could be better, because I think the characters have really meaningful desires, but the film doesn't like create tension and complicate those and have them like wrestle with those choices as they're waiting for their lover to come home or having to choose between their heart's desires versus like convenience for some of those female characters, or how the female characters can speak into each other's lives and encourage each other or guide each other. Like there's it's missing the heart of these characters, which I think could have made this movie a better movie. So instead, we get a lot of traumatic moments one after the other without like that like emotional investment in who these people are.
Yeah. Yeah, the most interesting relationship in the movie is like the love story between Kidman and Zellweger. Like
Yeah,
they're the way they come to love each other. It's like that's the most interesting part because it's what we see the most of, so we
yeah.
understand it more. Um, I agree. I think Zellweger's very good in the movie. I can do. We'll do another. I'll do 30 minutes on accents in a little bit. Being a Southerner, I have comments on the accents. No, I was
Oh
kidding. But
yeah.
I think Renee Zellweger is Texan and she's Southern, so I think she understands. She's pushing it a lot, but I think it's for the character. She knows it's like over the top. Um,
Mm,
I do find her really good in the movie. I think so. Out of the principal actors, Jude Law and Renee Zellweger got nominated. I think Nicole Kidman. I thought she was the best out of the three. Not that any of them
mm,
are bad, but I thought she was my favorite. And then I realized this is the year after she won the Oscar for The Hours, and it was right after her sort of renaissance when her and Tom Cruise split up, and she had like Moulin Rouge and the others, and kind of
mm.
this was like the height of Nicole Kidman's career, pretty much. But I wonder if that hurt her having won the year before. If they're like she doesn't need another nomination or something like that. But I really thought she was great, even with a bad accent. I really bought her and like emotionally felt connected to her story. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she did a great job. And you see, I think because you see such a contrast in her character from the start to the finish. And her performance is believable in both places
Yep.
too. And so for her to be able to really embody that character as she goes through so much trauma and is forced to, really learn all of these skills and develop agency and all of these things that she didn't have at the start of the film, and it's absolutely believable. So yeah, I agree. I think she's fantastic in this, and you are welcome to complain about the accents. That is definitely welcome here. I'm here
Yes,
for
please.
it.
Let's hear
Please
the
feel
rant.
free.
Pop
Well,
off.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say pop off about the accents. I want to hear.
All right. So I'm from, like I said, I'm from Nashville. I've lived here my whole life. I don't have an intense accent, but my mom is from Alabama. My family
Mm.
lives in Kentucky. I've heard these sounds my whole life, so I know what they are. And okay, what I will say is Brendan Gleeson does the best, in my opinion, of someone who's
Oh.
not, native to the accent. He has the most convincing Southern accent in the movie. Everybody else is just kind of all over the place in terms of like, I mean, Nicole Kidman, bless her heart. It is kind of a miracle that I buy her character and, like you said, her journey as much as I do, because she's really struggling with that accent in this movie. Jude Law does a pretty good job. I'm trying to think, like,
It's because he doesn't say much, you know? He says like
yeah,
5 words the whole
and he gets to
movie,
like
so it helps.
he gets to whisper most of it because he's
Yeah.
shot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but the very worst one, and you guys will indulge me. I prepared a
Yes,
small
please.
sound clip of this.
Please do it.
So
Okay.
this is Mr. Charlie Hunnam. If you remember him, he is the albino guy with the long white hair. Okay, here we go.
Any soldier turned deserter is guilty of treason and should be hunted down like a dog. Any man takes in a deserter is likewise guilty of treason. Home guard is power.
Okay, that's enough. I'll lay off Charlie for a minute, but I think he's Australian. Maybe he's British. I'm not sure, but I think it's maybe because the character is so weird and obnoxious to me anyway that but that accent, I can't imagine Anthony Minghella is watching these takes going, that's perfect. He's nailing it. I feel like maybe that was the best he could
That was
get
the best one.
and he moved on. But that the other thing that's weird about that character is, did you guys notice that he did like a flip off the off the fence and to shoot the
Yes.
kid? Like
Yeah.
cinematically, I guess it looks cool, but it's so funny to me that he does like a full flip in the
Front
air and
tuck.
then he lands perfectly and pulls his gun out. Um, but yeah, he was a weird character, but I really struggle with his accent and I feel bad. I'm sorry, Mr. Hunnam. Sorry
It's okay.
about
I
it.
think like 3 out of the like 30 words he said was actually like an attempt at an accent. So he's just like in and out of it the entire time too.
It felt like he was fighting himself. Like it felt like he was fighting.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But I was like, like I was very impressed with Brendan Gleeson. Actually, Natalie Portman's isn't too bad.
Mm,
Hers
yeah.
was okay. Oh, and
Hers
Phil
was okay.
Hoffman's was pretty good. Um, I always loved Philip Seymour Hoffman and everything. And this is the one movie where I could say this comes the closest to me being like, I don't need you, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like it was his character. He was just annoying to me. I was just like, that felt more like they were trying to do the Odyssey, like you said. It was like, here's a traumatic scene, here's kind of a quirky scene, here's like it was like trying to make it kind of lighthearted. And I was like, I mean, I guess I appreciate the attempt, but I just found him kind of annoying in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There were so many times where I feel like the movie was attempting to like be like to give us something to say, keep going, you got this. Here's a moment to breathe. And I'm like, this is not enough for me for what you just put me through in the previous scene. But
yeah.
thanks for the
And
attempt, I
they
suppose.
never last very long either because they get in
No,
the boat and then 2 seconds later, Jenna Malone is shot. Or, I'm sorry, I'm spoiling.
it's okay.
Okay.
Spoiler for Cold
Yeah.
Mountain. Too bad. Go watch it.
Yeah.
Come back and
Every time
listen.
there's like a nice scene of levity, it's immediately ruined. Like, oh, they're hanging out with Giovanni Ribisi. Nope.
Yeah.
They called the guard or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because even the like lighthearted moments are filled with trauma. Like you meet Philip Seymour Hoffman's character when he's trying to murder a woman, and then when they're
Oh,
like walking along the stream and they meet Giovanni Ribisi, that's when they're going to chop up this animal. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
what? Like, so even these like lighthearted moments, you're like, nope, I'm still being traumatized. I
Yeah.
need you to stop it, movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
saw he found like 3 seconds before. Look, I found a saw. Like, all right, let's cut up this bull.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I I wonder like I really just think about what this movie was wanting to do with this. Like I would love to read the book and
Yeah.
see like what threads were drawn out more and I'm sure there's lots more like yearning letters from Ada and back and forth. So like I wonder if there's more of the love story or more even of the history and maybe that's the thing that like readers bought into. But I feel like this film tries to be a love story, but then also tries to be this like gritty realism of like what it's like to live in like this time period and whatnot. And there's a way for those things to be woven together in an interesting way, but it almost feels like the film isn't sure what it wants to be, and so therefore we're following this love story, but we don't. It's not a satisfying experience either, and so I wonder if there was a little bit more focus and that the movie knew what it was a little bit more clearly. This would have worked a little bit better because instead I think we're just kind of wandering through like a difficult life with these people.
I think with the love story part of it in particular, it feels like the whole movie, it's kind of like you want them to show you, not tell you. Because in the
Yeah,
early scenes, they don't have a lot of I mean, I think they're supposed to be shy, awkward people. That's what
yeah.
she tells us she is, even though she immediately marches over to him and starts flirting with him. But he's that way. He's that way too, though. They're both kind of standoffish. They like I said, they barely know each other, and the movie's telling us the whole time how in love she is with him, and he too. And so that feels unsatisfying. I will say though, I think the ending scenes do pay off
Hmm.
in defense of the love story. I think the scene where they meet each other again is great. I think just that the staging of that and the music and everything's great.
So
Um,
good.
and then their talk after that, culminating in the love scene.
Hmm.
I did find more like the chemistry I kind of wanted there between them. I was happy for that reunion. I'd say like for the sake of the movie, because other than that, yeah, you're just being like told all this stuff, and you're like, we never saw any of this. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and perhaps a little bit more time with those characters at the beginning of the film as they're doing their courtship would have helped. I mean, they don't. The whole point is that they don't really know each other well, which I think actually is an interesting part of this movie because they weren't passionately in love and then were ripped apart. There was the beginning of the relationship, and so they're both uncertain and almost unsure of how the other's feelings may have changed over time. That's so poetic. That's so cinematic. That's so like beautiful to be put on the big screen, but that they still chose to hold out and wait for each other despite their very short history because they felt that connection so strongly. But I would have loved to see, if that's where the movie wants to take this, for there to be some real threats to that love and to that relationship. So Ada is being courted by this other man who wants to provide for her and buy the
Oh
farm.
yeah.
And I think had that been more of a reasonable, attractive offer for her, and she has to wrestle with like what it means to be a woman in society, and her struggling with the farm and him wanting to come in and provide for her in this way, so her kind of physical needs are provided for but maybe not the emotional. Like, let her wrestle with that a little bit and have Renee Zellweger's character come in and offer her and have conversations with her about it, have her talk to Sally the neighbor, like having both of the characters wrestle with this yearning over long periods of time adds to the drama, adds to the stakes of that. Instead, we get, again, difficult episodes of life, and she is still faithfully waiting for him, and he is still faithfully waiting for her. I feel like there's a really beautiful story to be told here, but almost the film is not wanting to indulge in it too much or focus. It's captivated by different things, which I'm kind of perplexed by.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe cut out some of the like side characters in the Odyssey part of this. We don't need Philip Seymour Hoffman in this. He's such a good
No.
actor, but we don't need him in this. We don't need Giovanni
Traumatizing.
Ribisi in this. Like, we can cut them and maybe have some more of that tension between the characters. And I think that is an interesting piece of this too, is like, as they say in the movie, they don't know each other. So they are, quote unquote, in love with an
The idea.
idealized version of the others.
Yeah.
And so I think that that is also a really interesting piece of this that the film doesn't have time or interest in exploring. But that also could have been something interesting, is like, okay, I've been holding out hope. I've gone through all of this trauma just to be with you, my sweetheart. And then you're like, oh, you're a very different person than you were before.
Yeah.
Like,
Different
okay,
movie.
you've gone through some trauma too. Oh no, what do we do? Like, I think
Yeah.
that's also something interesting. But then
Yeah.
Jude Law dies 5 minutes later. So, we don't have time for that. It's okay.
They don't have time.
He walks up to her and she goes, "Ooh, you've been shot? I don't know about this."
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Let
have
me
facial
rethink
hair
some
now?
things.
Yeah,
You have
this
facial
is,
hair? Yeah. This is
yeah.
exactly what I saw when I put my head down the well with the mirror. I don't know if I wanted it to be this close.
Yeah.
I bet that was a part that worked better in the book.
Yeah.
Something about the actual visual of it is just, I mean, it's fine, but it's a little bit silly. You're just kind of, it's so fantastical. It's kind of a weird thing to put into film. They do an okay job with it, though. I do think it's strange, though, when she sees the part of her vision that is the important part, which is him walking back. She's like, there weren't any crows. Hold on a minute. Then later the crows end up meaning that he got shot. So, yeah, bad stuff. I wanted to say about the Odyssey people characters. I do. So one of those is, I think the best scene in the movie, in my opinion, is the Natalie Portman scene, the first scene, not the
Hmm.
second with the baby and
Oh,
all that
that
stuff,
was so
the attack. But the first scene when he
yeah.
goes to her house and she feeds him, it's raining. She
Yeah.
said, my baby's sick. My husband died in the war, and we're just. But she has a good line where she's like, "That's all you'll find in any of these houses is just
Yeah.
men gone and dead, women left, like that kind of thing."
Yeah.
And then he's gonna sleep on the corn, and then she invites him into her bed just to like lay there, and it's just so sad and like
Yeah.
sweet, and you're like, she's crying and she's like, "I don't want you to go." And you just like, you can't, like, it's crazy to think about how lonely she must have been. And yeah, I think that scene is like it doesn't have much to do with the main story, but I think it's a really good, like, small moment in the movie before, the next part happens where you're like, oh
Oh.
God, okay, here we go.
Yeah. You're like, oh, we're back in Cold Mountain World.
Yeah, right. Bad times. Here we go. Cillian Murphy's here.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you that that scene is it's so captivating and it has so much to say and like really
Yeah.
grounds us in this world, you know? And I think it's also kind of a cool, at least for me, like it almost helped me like reframe what Ada is going through too. Like Ada's been going through some stuff.
Yeah.
She's had it
Mm.
rough, but she has found community. She's found people to help her. Like there are threats around her, obviously, but she with Sally, with Ruby, have figured out a way to get through it,
Yeah.
and not everybody is that lucky. And so I thought that that scene with Natalie Portman was really important in helping me kind of reframe what we've been seeing throughout the entire rest of the movie too. So I loved that, and I loved that line that you called out that she said. I thought that was really powerful
Mm.
Yeah.
too. So yeah, definitely a high point in this film for sure.
And I think that's an interesting, like, thematic component of this film is the loneliness of this world and kind of the brutality of this world and how rare it is to find, like you were saying, Scott, that true care and connection with another human being, the way that Ruby and Ada have found with each other and have deeply cared for each other, especially when you see so many of the betrayals that happen and people kind of bring people in who have deserted, and kind of the constant paranoia that is a part of a region that is in crisis, that is looking to fight for something. I think that's an important aspect of this film. I kept thinking, weird comparison, but I kept thinking about this film in the context of The Last of Us season 1, where we get to see Jude Law's character almost be that Pedro Pascal character, and he's going from place to place, and he meets people along the way that are helpful, that betray him, but how difficult and rare true care and connection is in this world that is in chaos, being kind of a thematic through line in this. And I think the Natalie Portman scene is a great example of, like, these two immediately feel like they can trust each other. There's some unspoken thing where they believe that they are both good and that there is safety here, but everybody else, not so much. And so the rare nature of finding something that's real in this world that is devolving, I think is an important part of this film that could have been drawn out maybe a little bit more. And how do you make those difficult choices between choosing like a real connection in front of you versus this hypothetical of a person that you barely know, but still yet are going to choose to wait for that one?
Mhm. Yeah, I the thing about like one thing about the Ruby and Ada thing is you end up feeling bad for Ada because, and there's another line that Donald Sutherland has, and I can't remember, where he says something like, "I'm sorry I raised you this way. I wish I'd raised you,"
Yeah.
essentially saying to be more self-sufficient. That's like literally that is 3 minutes before he dies. Outside, he says
Yep.
this line. Um, but yeah, it's like you realize when they show you this scene, like she doesn't really know. She's so at sea there. She doesn't know, no money. She doesn't have any way to get by. And then Ruby like comes along and helps. But my question is Ruby sent to her by the neighbor with who harbors the sons later? Is that where does Ruby come from?
Yeah, yeah. I think she was sent by Sally. I think
Okay.
Sally was the connection
The
there.
connection. Okay. Yeah. God, I can't even talk about Sally and her
Oh my
son. That's
gosh. I know.
horrific. That scene is so upsetting. It's been haunting me for days. I
Yeah.
just keep thinking back to that horrible scene.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Same.
awful. It's so awful.
Oh. And I just, it's one of those, one of my pet peeves. I'm going to get my soapbox for a hot second. One of my pet peeves is when movies or TV do melodrama for the sake of melodrama to like ignite a feeling in you, but it doesn't feel like it's to for a purpose, or it's trying to make a point or trying to deepen that character. So that whole sequence with Sally, I think, is fascinating because it obviously triggers an emotional reaction with us. How can it not? If you have a heart, but I would have loved to see them use the experience that Sally went through to allow Sally to be there or show up differently in her community, and be a pillar with the other women, because she's experience such pain that she can either relate to Ada or relate to Ruby's character in a way that it deepens their connection and their relationship. But she's just kind of there in the movie for the rest of the movie, you
Yeah.
know, as a side character, as backdrop, as a prop, as color. And I'm like, I get that this world is harsh and you wanted to depict that, but how do we like now channel and use this in a way that is meaningful, that is, you know, there's something that's come from it in how Sally's able to care for more deeply the people around her, or receive that care. I don't know. They're just, it feels like she's just there for the rest of the movie afterwards. And I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
What about Sally? You know, and what's her role in this new community that she's found family in? I don't know, but the movie also is not interested in
Right.
doing
I don't
anything
think
with
she has
that.
any more lines after that. She
No.
might,
Mm-mm.
maybe
No,
they
she
show her at
doesn't
the
speak.
end in the flash, like the flash forward, they show her maybe.
Yeah.
But, and I wonder if I agree with you that that scene is definitely pumped up melodrama for sure.
Yeah.
And you know how you know it is because Hunnam does a backflip or like a flip before he
Yeah.
lands to shoot someone. Um,
Talk about drama.
yeah, right. But yeah, I know what you mean though. It would have been interesting to see more of Sally after that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they save her. She says, "Don't bother saving me," and then that's it. You don't ever hear from her again. It's like, well,
Yeah.
and I
What was
love
that for?
Kathy Baker. She's a great actress, the woman who
Yes.
plays her. Yeah,
Yeah.
And I think they were trying to do something with that because like they say it a couple times that like she doesn't speak anymore. And
Yeah.
so I think there could have been something interesting with that. Like whether it's she physically can't speak because her vocal cords are damaged or she has chosen that as coping with her grief or processing through all this trauma she's been, I don't know, whatever. But I think that also could have been really interesting. Like if they take this piece of this character that they already have written in and they highlight it a couple of times and just take it like one step further. And I feel like they're trying to do that, especially when Brendan Gleeson shows up and he's very interested in Sally and like wants to know more and is asking questions about her or is looking at her. Like
Mm.
I feel like they could have done just a little bit more to make Sally, just more interesting after that attack and have her play more of a prominent role because she is so visible and so prominent in
Yeah.
the first half of the movie and is, doing stuff, taking care of people, all of that. So even if the second half is just her learning how to receive care, that would have been hard for her too, I would imagine. So just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the pieces were there, but it just didn't quite come together the way
Right.
that we maybe wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I wonder if the book has more. I kind of
Yeah.
want to go read the book now. I want to see if there's anything more with
Right.
Sally after that in the book because I
Mm-hmm.
guess everything gets cut for time. I wonder if they had more for her.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're going to do a big scene like that, man, you better use it even in a small way. Like even just after Ada loses Jude Law's character, just Sally coming alongside her as Ada's perhaps weeping and just the hand placed on her shoulder. Like that would be so powerful and says so much of these two women that have lost the people that they love, but they have each other and they can relate and they can empathize. And that is beautiful, even in the midst of their pain and their suffering. There's a shared moment. Like, okay, like that is Sally's ability to come alongside that she wouldn't have without that moment. So missed opportunity. But you're right, Sarah. The pieces are all there. Let's just use them. Perhaps the book does have more time to lean into that a little bit more.
Sally puts her hand on her shoulder and goes, "Girl, I know.
Yeah, like in that scene in
Been
Inside
there."
Out where sadness comes over and just like, I know
Yep.
how it feels. That's all you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
Just a hand on the shoulder. Girl, I got you. I've been there.
I got you up in there.
Okay, other big things and choices that this film makes.
There was something that stood out to me, and I guess I'll first. Have you guys seen the other two Anthony Minghella movies? I was talking about The English Patient and Talented Mr. Ripley. He has he has two things that he seems to do in all three movies that I find interesting. The first isn't as important, so I'll say it. He's really into finger trauma. Um, Obviously in this movie, she's crushed by the fence to try to get her sons to come
Crazy.
out. in Town of Mr. Ripley, a character literally has his like thumbs cut off in close up. Like they must have made a prosthetic because you watch it and you're like, you think it's gonna cut right before they're about to cut. And no, you see the thumb. Anyway, it's crazy. But and then in Town of Mr. Ripley, a smaller part, but there is a part where Tom is like Tom Ripley's character, Matt Damon is he's like in an intense argument and he's got like a blade in his hand, and you see like through the white bathrobe, it starts to suddenly turn red, like he's like so tense he's like cut himself. Uh, so Anthony Minghella really likes to show that on film. Interesting. But the more interesting one I'll say, or the more deep one, is the way he uses music in all three movies is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious about it, so I looked him up, and he actually was a musician, and he
Oh,
played in bands when he was younger and stuff, and that was like a possible career path for him. But they all like in Town of Miss Ripley, it's a lot of like Dickey's jazz band stuff. Like the music comes into the plot itself, and then Town of Miss or English Patient has also where they play music for him, and he can remember every song and sings it. And then in this, you have it even more so than the other two, with first the piano, the way
yes.
Ada plays the piano, and then the way that when the dad, when Ruby's dad, whose name I forgot, Brendan Gleeson, he music almost reforms him into a better person with that band he plays with. And then the scene right before they're about to die, their killers sing
Yeah.
along with them. Like it's a crazy, weird moment of connection right before they get killed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway, that was the music was the main thing. I was like, he just ties that through all of his movies. So it's really cool. Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I have a note here too, which the music feels like a whole character in this film, and it is the character that every other character runs to for some sort of joy, some sort of peace, or a moment of levity in their lives that are so difficult. So I just have on here respite in all caps because it feels like these characters, that is their only few moments where they get to dance and have a moment together before they're back on the farm or having to process and heal from all the traumatic things that are happening to them. And so that is a consistent through line, is the transformative power of music. And the film's thesis is almost that it is like essential to survival. In a lot of ways, this is like a survival movie. Everyone's trying to like make it, and that is their thing that can keep them going a little bit longer. And even with Brendan's Gleeson character almost healing him and making him a better man, he says at one point. So yeah, the transformative power of music being essential to human life, to their humanity, and maintaining their humanity feels like such a big theme in this film, and revisited again and again.
And I think that's also part of why the middle of the movie feels like such a slog is you don't have those moments of respite during that section,
Mm,
because once Ada gets rid of her piano and before Brendan Gleeson's character comes, you don't have that piece of it. I know for me, like watching once Brendan Gleeson came with his little
yeah.
merry band, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. Can we watch this movie? Like, can
Yeah.
I just like follow them around as they're just playing their instruments? This is amazing. So
Mm,
I think the trauma and just trudging through grief that we do in the middle of the film really makes that ending bit when they are introduced feel like that breath of fresh air and that respite that you were saying.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so cool. Like, like I was gonna say about the piano, that's like such a sad throwaway line when Ruby's like, I don't know, I'm just sorry sorry you had to get rid of your piano, and you're just like, oh, how could that be? Like, it makes you so
Yeah.
sad. And then you're right, that's right when the middle's starting, when things just get like keep going downhill, downhill,
Downhill.
downhill. Um, yeah, there was a I was gonna say about the like they shot it in Romania, and Romania I think doubles very well for like North Carolina mountains. It looks great. Like the setting, like whoever the location scouting was perfect. It looks really good. Obviously, the cinematography is beautiful, but like the locations are just very convincing and good. I
Mm,
think I like that a lot.
hmm hmm Yeah. Yeah. And also notable that like the end of the film, like Brendan Gleeson out with his fiddle, and that
Oh
is
yeah,
their piece. That is their moment of, what does she say? Like
yeah,
the sun is out or something. You know, I
and
hated
they
all
did.
of the voiceovers. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Oh yeah,
I'm not a fan of voiceovers
too
in
many
movies in general.
voiceovers.
But yeah, I'm like, we get it. We get it. Things are good now. You don't have to tell us. We're not
Yeah,
stupid. We got it.
and it's always like come back to me or I miss you.
Come back to
Um,
me. Yeah.
and I forgot that they introduced the Brendan Gleeson's violin pretty early too, because it's when after he's been shot right in there, or it's when Lucas Black, the kid from is it Remember the Titans? Yeah, he was
Yeah.
in Sling Blade. That's what I remember most from. Um, anytime you needed a Southern actor of his early 20s during that period of time, you went to Lucas Black, the most convincing accent in the movie because it's real. Um, anyway, when he gets stabbed and then he wants him to play him something, and that's Brendan Gleeson playing the fiddle at the beginning. And I'd forgotten that that's how they bring it in pretty early. What a coincidence that that would just happen to be him there. That Ruby's dad would just happen to be there with, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
that
it's
brings up
fine.
the whole,
It's a
Yeah.
that
small
bring,
town. It's okay.
yeah, it's a small town. That brings up the whole battle scene, which is crazily well done.
Yeah.
Um, I forget the name of the battle, but the one where they tried to blow up underneath them and then it created a crater in the North Rand and then got stuck. The turkey shoot thing. That
Mm-hmm.
whole set, the way they filmed that is like some of the best war stuff I feel like you could find. Like it's so convincing the way they do all that, and yeah, they did a good job staging that whole thing.
Yeah. And we get like all of the big productions, spritzy stuff. We get like the first 30 minutes of the movie and then he deserts and then just never again. It's like, honestly, thank God. He
Yeah.
goes on his little journey. But it also lasts for much longer than I was expecting it to. I just assume like they do their big punchy stuff and then, no more money. There's no more budget for us to do more. But it there's so many more scenes depicting the battle and the preparations for battle, even, that I was kind of shocked at how much time they spend there. But I suppose if you're doing like a big period piece, that's a big Oscar swing. Like, spend the money. I don't know. They've
Yeah.
allocated their budget there.
When you've got a certain producer we won't mention behind you, Miramax
Yeah,
affiliated producer, yeah, I think they probably had a nice
sweat a
budget.
little. Yeah, yeah,
But the I mentioned it in my sentence, but the puddle of blood is crazy. Like it's insane. Then you're like, oh
yeah.
my god, like they're in a puddle of blood fighting. You're just like, just the visual of that. I don't think I'll forget that soon. That they're in a
Mm-hmm.
puddle of blood.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you go on such a roller coaster during that whole battle too. Like there's a lot of like twists and turns within that. And then I think this whole movie is a blur, even though I just watched it last night. But like I think in the midst of that battle, they're also like cutting away to like flashbacks and stuff too. So like you have battle
Yeah,
and then it's
they
like,
do.
oh, now we're
Love
back
story.
in the past. We're gonna get a little like low key early Civil War flirting going on, and then we're back into the battle again. So I think that provided a really interesting like tonal contrast throughout, and it's like, oh, we got some weird tray holding, oh, now we're back to puddle of blood, okay. So it was just, you go on such a roller coaster in those first like 30 minutes. It is very wild.
Yeah, it is disorienting how much they cut back and forth in that first little bit. I was gonna say, I was thinking, does the whole movie do this? Like,
Yeah.
because in a way, English Patient kind of does that the whole movie. It goes back and forth, but not as fast or as like jarringly, I don't think.
Yep.
Yeah, at the beginning of this movie, there are times all over the place. I was like, I feel like I was watching Pulp Fiction. It's like, what time are we
Yeah.
in? What's happening?
I have a note here for that opening section. The edits were a little fast and the juxtapositions are less interesting. I think that when you cut back and forth in time, it often is supposed to be meaningful for why we're cutting back now, or why there's a juxtaposition that's particularly meaning and adds meaning to both the flashback and also add meanings to the character at present. So I think what they were trying to do is like, oh, he's in the middle of war and he's thinking back to his woman. But there's got to be a little bit more than that. I almost think it would be more interesting for the backstory of their connection and how their love relationship being unveiled over time. And we for the first like half of the movie almost don't even know how much their relationship was built off of, and continue to cut back throughout that middle section when things are really hard, but we get a little bit more of why they were captivated by each other and kind of unveil that more slowly. But instead it's all, like packed in the front 20 minutes, and then we never revisit it ever again, which I think also takes away from that yearning, that thinking back to those few captivating moments. And honestly, when life is hard, you need some like spritzy moments to think back to get you going and keep you having a reason to get up in the morning. And so I think that would have been interesting for us as the viewers to leave us confused for a while. Like, we don't know what the relationship, are they deep lovers, or are they like just early relationship? We don't know until time is passing and we're seeing them think back to those memories that they hold on to because life is hard in the present.
I love that idea. I think that's brilliant to do it. Like, that solves like 3 problems with the
Yeah.
movie already, is if you make it not as obvious on the front end how little they know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, and I get that that's what the movie is. Like, I understand, but it's like, I think that would be an interesting way to do it, where you just think you could think they're married. You could think anything.
Yeah.
You don't know why. And then you reveal later on. I think that would have been really cool, actually. I would have liked that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sorry to
And
the
then
author.
And then we get those moments of respite. You don't have to build them
Yeah.
into these weird levity moments that are still traumatic. You cut back to young love. My gosh, that's all we need before you give us something traumatic in the present. And then it also is helping us relate to and put ourselves in the shoes of the character, which is that they are needing that same moment of respite to think back into their memory and daydream again and go back to better days because life is too hard right now. So they too are thinking back and cutting back to those moments of excitement that were meaningful, that they can hold on to as they're trying to survive.
Yeah, and I think that would even help make the like weird low key flirting make more sense too, and like make it feel like more natural and more sweet, because I feel like that's also like
Mm,
something that like a romance film has to do, is there has to be enough spark between the characters for us to buy it, because like we're at home, we're comfy sitting on the couch, like we're not feeling the spark, but we need the spark to be obvious on the screen for us to buy it.
yeah.
And so I think if that was moved to the middle, maybe like they don't even need to film anything additionally, but just more strategically timed,
Yeah.
then we would feel that contrast. We would see their yearning in the present, then see what their connection was in the past, and then it might make more sense, and it would only like amplify what is some pretty subtle connection in the past.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is a good place to ask this question then.
All right.
Do you guys think that Jude Law and Nicole Kidman have chemistry in this movie? I will say this. It's a little bit hard with Renee Zellweger there because she's like a live wire. Like, she's got chemistry with everybody in this movie.
Yes.
Anytime she talks to somebody, it's interesting. But that's just who she is. But yeah, because like I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but when they finally got together and had that a little bit of their conversation, I'll marry you, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It moved me so deeply. The way I'm just making they were. I did think there was maybe chemistry is the wrong word. There was something there that I bought.
Mm,
But I'm just curious if you guys felt, but chemistry is a really strong word for whatever it was. What did
yeah.
you guys think about them together when they were finally together?
My take is I think they don't have chemistry together. I think Jude Law has chemistry with the camera. And so
Mhm.
therefore it sells it. You know what I mean? Like, I think he carries a huge, like, uh, uh, a huge piece portion of like that whole opening section working, because all he has to do is just like look in a direction, the camera is going to capture his eyes like burning a hole into the lens, and then
Yeah.
everyone's going to buy it, you know what I mean? And you just assume that she's on the other end. I think that he's giving more like connection and spark and chemistry for her than I think she is giving back to him. But I don't know, it perhaps she's wanting to do the like demure woman from this period that doesn't want to give and show too much. But I don't know, Nicole Kidman's got like incredible eyes that can do so much that I would have expected the two of them to have more chemistry than I felt like they did on screen. So I was a little bit like, I'm kind of a little bit of BS at the beginning here. And then I honestly, by the end of the film, I'm like, thank God something hopeful is happening. So I just will buy the chemistry because I needed it. What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I think so. Like in the beginning, they're obviously being very strategic with how they are portraying this romance because,
Yeah.
you know, the times, you can't just be like out here dating and doing all the things that we associate with spark and chemistry. So they have to go on walks with her dad, you know, because that's what courting is in the Civil War time. So like that makes sense. They got to downplay it at the beginning. But man, like I don't know. By the end of the movie, I was just like, okay, great. They're getting together. That means that the movie's almost over. Let's freaking go. Like, I'm ready to be done with the trauma. But I don't
The movie's
know.
like, not quite.
Right?
Yeah.
There's still more trauma for us to endure. Don't worry, guys.
Anymore.
So it's fine. Like, there's enough there for it to be like, okay, yeah, I guess I believe that. But I don't think it was this like, oh my gosh, and they're finally together because they've been in love this whole time. Like, yes, this is the culmination of 3 years of waiting for that. Like, it's just like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They're together now. Great.
Yeah. Well, that I think y'all make a good point about the movie is banking on these are two of the hottest people in the world.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a baseline, some kind of chemistry just because they're hot. Like that is sort of what the movie's going after. They're like, we can't, if you make sure you cast the best looking people in the world, you'll be fine. You're home free, but yeah.
Exactly. And I actually think that there's some people that have opinions that like Renee Zellweger's performance may have been like the Academy wanting to reward her for just like her career by that point, and that this wasn't necessarily one of her best performances. And I think that's an interesting take because she lights up the screen and offers something like you were saying. There's this chemistry that she has with every character that I think can be mistaken for her like acting performance versus just like she is a breath of fresh air for us in general in this world, and her personality and her character lends itself to being incredibly charismatic both for every character in this world but also for us as a viewer because everyone else is so heavy burdened and laden by everything that they've experienced. So it's a fascinating way to think about how we may judge acting performances, and it's a little bit tied into the character and the context that they're in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and it's more impressive when you even think about, so she had just missed out on 2 Oscars, like you were talking about, nominated for Bridget Jones in 2001, I think, and then Chicago in 2002. How different all 3 of those performances are. You really appreciate her in this movie because it's like, I will say at the very beginning when she first came in and was talking loud, I was a little bit, I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work for me. But she won me over very fast. She's a very good character. You're glad she's there. You're very thankful she's there. And like I said, I think that's the best relationship in the movie is the two of them. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I think the Academy probably was happy that they got a chance to award her so soon after Chicago and stuff. But no, I think she was really good. I mean, and like I said, the accent for me she was doing a lot. It's a big performance. So, but you know, I didn't watch it going like, I'm not convinced by this. I thought she did a really good job. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, while watching, this is going to be weird, but I kept thinking about The Last Samurai because I feel like Renee Zellweger does in Cold Mountain what Ken Watanabe does in The Last Samurai. They're both supporting roles, and yet they are this lovely bright spot in what is otherwise a pretty difficult movie to get through. And so I kept thinking about The Last Samurai and Ken Watanabe in that and going, oh man, Renee is doing like the exact same thing in this, where she is just, man, she's giving such a good performance in this. It is very over the top, like you said, Scott, but there's something that's so endearing about her just tenacity and her willingness to like drive and just be like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to survive and you're going to learn how to do all these things and I'm going to teach you. Like
Yeah.
there's just you just buy into it and she is someone that you want to root for because she has so much drive and so much personality and so much charisma. She's just a blast to watch in this.
Yeah. I yeah, it's interesting that what you were saying about how she's sort of the supporting performance who kind of almost steals the movie or really does actually support the story with her
Yeah.
presence. It's funny because Jerry Maguire was kind of her first movie where she got noticed for, and she kind of came out of nowhere as the supporting role, just like everybody was like, who's this? And all of a sudden she's so charming and winning in that movie. So I like that she got awarded for another performance like that.
Mm-hmm.
And her character like broke my heart kind of when she was like talking about at the end when Nicole's like, Ada's like, me and Edmund are going to be together. And she's like, well, I have big plans for the farm. I was like, oh my God. I was like, no, you can all live there together. It's okay. It's okay. Like, it was kind of sad, I
Yeah.
don't, it almost like but, and then weirdly, she may be jealous, but she's also like very supportive too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's being a good friend. She's like, do you have the right kind of feelings for her? Like, she's really looking out for her. So that's sweet. Yeah.
She's another character like Sally that I think could have had a more of a mini arc of some kind with her. Like I think she pretty much stays one tone the entire film, and
Yeah.
obviously there's this really beautiful relationship with her and Ada, but I would have loved the film to at least given her a little bit of tension somewhere in the middle and then a catharsis for her at the end, So like we learn a little bit about her difficult childhood, the abandonment from her father, and having to be so self-sufficient. So I'd have loved to see her maybe like show up and provide at the beginning, but maybe emotionally a little bit guarded and a little bit
Mhm.
jaded. And then slowly, because of that time spent with Ada, that this hard exteriors begin to fall a little bit and she shows those vulnerable sides of her a little bit more, and that makes their relationship by the end really meaningful. But I feel like the film just kind of paints her a little bit in one dimension and she just stays that way the entire time, versus her also growing and evolving as the film is progressing in that middle section, and she's spending all that time with Ada and learning to trust again, learning to love again, learning to care for another and be cared for. Would have been really meaningful. So we learn about her like childhood stuff, I think, like quite late in the film, and that was the point where I was like, there's a whole arc for this character that we just kind of we glossed over, and she stays one color for most of the movie.
I did wonder if they were going to do something with her with like reading or language or something because she's
Uh,
so proud in the beginning that she can spell the word catastrophe, and she spells it out. And then even her when Ada is reading Wuthering Heights and she takes the book and tries to read it, but it's very halting and kind of difficult for her to get through it. So I wondered if there was going to be something there with her about like improving her education or becoming more
woman, yeah.
like her reading, improving her reading ability or something like that too, so that because she's good at so many things. She's so like street smart and all of that, even though they really don't have streets, but she's so good at all of that stuff, but she doesn't have like the book smarts. So I was wondering if they were going to do something like that, but we don't have time. There's too many tragedies. We don't have time
Let me
to
try.
improve our
Yeah,
reading
her
here.
busy
Like,
ripping everybody's heart out
yeah,
for
yeah,
just breaking them.
it's fine.
They definitely should have had Ada, My Fair Lady, Ruby.
I'm just saying there was an opportunity
Teach
here.
her how to walk, teach her how to talk, teach her how to play the piano.
Yeah.
I would want to see that for sure.
That'd be entertaining. That's the like spritzy romantic movie levity moments that we needed before she gets her man by the end.
Jack White.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, any other last big things we wanted to comment on, share about, rant about with Cold Mountain before we wrap?
Okay, I had a couple notes.
Okay.
The first is this is not a great time to watch a Civil War film.
Nope.
I was like, I had a pit in my stomach like the whole movie with like everything that's going on in the world. I was like, I don't want to like it made me think too much about the world
Yeah.
today. And I was just like, oh, this is rough. But having said that, I liked the movie and I enjoyed watching it, but it's just a funny time to watch it.
Uh-huh.
Whereas watching it like several years ago, you probably wouldn't have the same, it would feel further away.
Uh-huh.
um, I was going to say, I wonder if a bird caught in a room is really good luck. They say that in the movie, and I don't know if that's true. So I'm going to look that up later. And then there were two gross moments that weren't like bloody gross, but they grossed me out. One was when he ate the raw crabs, grabbed
Yeah.
a handful of crabs out of the ground and just started eating them with their, yeah, just crunch, crunch, crunch. And then there's one where this is when he's in the hospital and he's been shot. The amount of flies that were flying
Yeah.
around in that scene was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, did they bring in stunt flies? Like, just flies everywhere, all over the place. It's very realistic, but I was like, I'm getting tired of looking at these flies.
Yeah, yeah. There were so many moments in this film where I was like, there is a reason why I was not alive in this time. This is not the place for me. I don't like this. I don't want this. I don't want
Uh-huh.
that many flies in the hospital. No, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
But the shout out that I would like to give is to the old woman with the goat.
Yeah.
She incredible. Oh my gosh. I have
Yes.
so many questions about this old woman and her goat. I just want to know everything about her life. And I was so pleased with that scene, except for when she murders the goat, because that was very sad. I was very upset about that. But I loved her. I was like, oh my gosh, can we just spend the whole movie hanging out with this old lady? Like, this would be so much fun. So yeah, great performance. She does wonderful. And just a little detail that really sealed it for me is her teeth were so gross. And I'm like, yes, this is a person who is alive in the mountains during the Civil War. I believe this because if you look at Jude Law's teeth, if you look at
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman's teeth, they're perfectly pearly white, perfectly straight. And I'm like,
Yes.
nope,
Yeah.
this is some BS right here. You got dirt on your fingernails, but your teeth are not gross. I'm having a hard time believing this. But that old lady, 10 out of 10. She did great.
Like, where did they get veneers back then?
Right?
But your goat comment is funny because when you think about it, if you're a living creature who appears in a scene of this movie, you've got about a 50-50 chance you're going to die. Any living creature at all. So
Human or animal. Yeah, honestly.
exactly.
My quick little shout out is the hair. Nicole Kidman's hair has a whole story arc over the course of this movie. Like, if you plotted that on a graph, it pretty much reflects the emotional states that she goes through. Like, it's perfectly in place at the beginning, and this whole middle section, it is like a rat's nest, as it should be when you're trying to survive and dealing with trauma. And then by the end, when she's preparing Easter brunch, she's got a little bit more tidiness in there. So shout out to the hair that has a whole character arc over this course
It's
of this
like
movie.
rat's nest, but
Yes.
make it fashion.
Yes.
But
Still
yeah, I
looking
think
too clean for Civil War era survival,
a
but
little too clean. There was
yeah.
one moment where she like shot up out of a bed and it was like the perfect curls and I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
It's like,
But what you said about the hair is funny because I noticed at the end when they go out to go get Brendan Gleeson, the father, she's got that big coat on. Her hair's real tight. In fact, like she's ready to go. She's got her gun. She's very businesslike, and she's got that like I don't know business hair. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, business hair. She looks like she's ready to kick some ass and take some names, that sort of thing.
yep.
And she does. She
She is.
shoots a bird and gets her man. There
Mm-hmm.
you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was a great fit, honestly, with that hat. Well
She looked
done.
great. Yeah, she looked
Yeah.
awesome.
Good stuff.
The costumes are great in this movie.
They
I know we're
are.
talking about this now,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, I thought everybody, I didn't even look up who the costume designer was, but they're all great. And they're all,
Mm-hmm.
I just always wonder about stuff like it's crazy that they can get clothes like these. Like they still
Yeah.
have them where they can use them. It's nuts. But
Yeah. Yeah. And as I was watching this movie, being like, why do people go to the movies to watch this? I'm like, that's part of it. It's just like to see and be immersed in this world, to see the costume, to see the hair, to see the setting and the environment and everything else that comes with it. The pool's blood that comes with it too.
yeah.
Yeah. Traveling back in time to honestly though, Sarah, I was like, I'm grateful to be in the modern era.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
for
wouldn't have
having been
survived
born.
either.
So, yeah.
Not for me either.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is our review and discussion of Cold Mountain. You can find it available to rent or stream or purchase on a bunch of streaming platforms. And you can also, like Scott, go and find it in physical form. So thank you for listening to this week's episode of Movies and Us. And a big thank you to you, Scott, for joining and sharing a lot of your thoughts about Cold Mountain. It's a good time.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Where can people find more of you, connect with you on the interwebs?
Okay, so I'm at Twitter. I still call it Twitter. Twitter and Instagram at Cole, Scott. That's like all spelled out, like my last name Cole. The word comma, the word Scott. And then Letterboxd. I think I am SS Cole, like my Scott Stafford Cole 929. So yeah. Oh, and then I realized I do have a Blue Sky, and I think I actually got in early on Blue Sky. I'm just Scott Cole at Blue Sky. So that's awesome.
Claimed it. Yes. Love it.
Yeah. There's some fitness guru in the world named Scott Cole who does Tai Chi, and he gets everything before me. Like, he got the Twitter handle, he got all the stuff, but I beat him in on Blue Sky. So there we go.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Your doppelganger out there with your name doppelganger. I am a heavyweight boxer in Texas, so that's really cool for me.
Hell yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah, that's cool. We've got athletic
All right, well, we will include
doppelgangers.
all of those links and all that goodness for where you can find and connect more with Scott in the show notes. So make sure to go check him out, go follow him. All that goodness we'll leave in the show notes. So our name, Movies and Us, sums it up. We're all about movies and the powerful ways we can connect with each other and the world around us. This podcast is about all of us and our shared stories, so everyone is welcome here. I'm so glad you spent time with us today. You can subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you may tune into your favorite shows. Drop us a rating and review letting us know your thoughts about Cold Mountain. You can connect with us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at moviesnustpod, or email us at moviesnustpod@gmail.com. Check out our website, andusmedia.co, for the latest on Movies and Us and our other podcast, TV and Us. We will be back next week with kind of a special episode. We have an exciting announcement coming soon, so we're excited to share that with y'all next week. But in the meantime, we hope you have an amazing week, and we'll talk again with y'all very soon.